The best tennis matches to watch on YouTube, a playlist of classics. If you are a sports fan and love watching tennis, this video is for you. We've been blessed to witness hundreds of powerful personalities, intense rivalries, and scintillating matches play out in the world's most eminent tennis courts over many years. On today's special episode of Forehand Frenzy, we share with you a list of the best tennis matches to watch from start to finish on YouTube. Whether you fancy a boost or need a masterclass in entertainment, sportsmanship, shot-making, and inspiration, this is for you. So sit back, relax, and check out our 8-strong playlist of the world's most jaw-dropping classic tennis finals that left audiences in awe. Number 8. US Open Quarter Final 2001. Pete Sampras versus Agassi. Pete Sampras and Andre Agassi were two of the best performing and most iconic tennis players of the 90s. They were almost complete opposites in terms of their style of play. Sampras was cool, calm, and collected, almost detached, while Agassi was the hot-tempered and unpredictable rebel. In those days, they did not like each other much, as each stood in the way of the other's path to sporting immortality. But as we reflect on one of their most titanic tussles, how can we not have fun watching these two greatest American players entertaining their home crowd at the US Open? Although the best tennis of their careers may have been long gone by 2001, this match was nonetheless one of their most entertaining and bruising encounters. All 4 sets of the game went into a tie-break, with Sampras and his big serve helping him win 3 of them and triumph in the end. There was not a single break of serve throughout the entire match, such was the high standard of play. The contest ended with a beautiful moment in which fans celebrated their careers by standing to offer an extended ovation for both players at the close of the tournament. Number 7. Wimbledon Final 2001. Goran Ivanisevic versus Pat Rafter. If there had ever been a tennis fairy tale, Goran Ivanisevic's 2001 Wimbledon campaign would most certainly have been its script. In the summer of 2001, Goran Ivanisevic was ranked a lowly 125th in the world. Even though this ranking was too low to make the main draw, he received a wildcard entry since he had previously reached 3 Wimbledon finals. He defeated former and future world number 1 players Carlos Moya, Andy Roddick, and Marat Safin, and vanquished home favorite Tim Henman in a 5-set rain-delayed semifinal to set up a title match with the previous year's runner-up and former US Open champion Patrick Rafter. It was the first singles final for Ivanisevic since 1998. In a match that lasted just over 3 hours, Ivanisevic defeated Rafter. His big left-handed serve earned him his only Grand Slam title, and he became the first wildcard entry to win Wimbledon in the tournament's history. The match is definitely worth watching in its entirety, if for no other reason than to witness the breadth of shot-making on display as well as to behold the decisive and nail-biting 5th set, which contained no fewer than 16 games. Number 6. Wimbledon Final 2008. Roger Federer versus Rafael Nadal. Some magical moments will be remembered forever at the 2008 Wimbledon tournament. Roger Federer had won the previous 5 consecutive Wimbledon titles, beating Rafael Nadal in both 2006 and 2007. However, 2008's final would prove to be one of the most exciting tennis matches ever. It was a head-to-head between Nadal, the Spanish bull and king of clay, and Federer, the elegant and suave exponent of grass-court brilliance. Everybody thought Federer would waltz to victory, but events transpired differently. Although Nadal was the underdog, he won the first 2 sets 6-4, 6-4. The next 2 sets these titans battled for are considered to represent some of the highest quality tennis ever played in the history of the sport. In the 4th set, Nadal was ahead 5-2 at one point and even earned himself several championship points. But Federer defended these robustly and held on by his fingernails to level the match after winning the 4th set. The 5th set was equally epic, with both players taking the lead and appearing to win, only for their opponent to rally back level, extending the match by more and more games. Finally, Nadal broke Federer's serve and achieved a 9-7 victory to secure his first Wimbledon title. Nadal's fighting spirit got him through. Amazingly, he saved 12 of the 13 breakpoints he faced. They played 4 hours and 48 minutes of classic lawn tennis on the most famous court in the world. Sun had almost set as Nadal clinched the title. It was the longest final in Wimbledon history. Wimbledon's atmosphere pulsated under a darkening London sky. Will a more staggering match ever be played? Number 5. Wimbledon Final 2009. Roger Federer vs. Andy Roddick. While Roger Federer may be the greatest player of all time, even some of his biggest fans wouldn't have forgiven him if he had lost this one to Andy Roddick. Roddick was himself a world number 1 before Federer's era of dominance began, which is interesting because Roddick is actually younger than Federer, but won the US Open in 2003 and achieved the world number 1 ranking for 13 weeks. Roger himself spoke later about how one of his regrets is that it took him so long to win his maiden Grand Slam. Nonetheless, in the 2009 final, Roddick admitted to throwing everything at Federer, including the kitchen sink, but still falling short of his dream of tournament victory in spite of playing scintillating and almost perfect tennis for hours on end against the indomitable Swiss maestro. The last set of the Wimbledon final in 2009 was one of the most dramatic and breathtaking tennis sets you'll ever see. Andy Roddick lost his serve only once. This was Roddick's 4th meeting with Federer in a Grand Slam final, and just like the other 3, it was won by Federer. This final match has set the record for the longest Grand Slam final in history with 77 games and the 5th set in a men's Grand Slam final. Number 4. Wimbledon, first round 2010. John Isner vs. Nicolas Mahut. It is rare to include a tennis match of a Grand Slam's first round on the list of the best tennis matches to watch, but it would seem outrageous not to feature this particular match on our must-watch shortlist. Both players of the game have enjoyed long and successful singles and doubles careers, but their 2010 head-to-head matchup made headlines all over the world because it never looked like it was going to come to an end. In men's tennis, until a recent rule change, after 5 sets, a winner must achieve a tally of precisely 2 games more than his opponent before victory is declared. However, neither player could achieve this advantage over the other for at least a day. John Isner, the eventual winner, made a world record of 112 aces in the singles match alone, with Nicolas Mahut also surpassing all other players by achieving 103 aces, which gives you a measure of how evenly matched these players were and how similar their style of play was. What a match to witness. The game was interrupted on the second day due to darkness with a score of 59-59. Isner took the match the following day by winning 70 games to 68. After 183 games over 11 hours and 5 minutes, the match is the longest match ever at a tennis open, and a plaque has been erected at Wimbledon itself commemorating this very fact. Number 3. Australian Open Final 2012. Novak Djokovic vs. Rafael Nadal. Being the longest Grand Slam final and the best Australian Open tennis final ever, this match was an incredible game. Novak Djokovic won 3 Grand Slam titles in 2011 and had just defeated an in-form Andy Murray in the semifinals. Nadal also displayed some of his best tennis and was ready for this final. Nadal won the first set 7-5. It lasted 80 minutes as both players fought for every point. Djokovic made a comeback and won the next 2 sets 6-4 and 6-2. Although the score sounded one-sided, it could have gone either way at times. In the 4th set, Djokovic led 4-3 and 40-0 on Nadal's serve in the 8th game. Nadal gave in his all and fought with everything he had, unleashing his forehand twice. It won him the game and finally the set. Nadal broke out early to take a 4-2 lead in the 5th set, but this time it was Djokovic who showed his resilience in battle by breaking back. Djokovic was finally able to break Nadal's serve in the 11th game and went on to lift the trophy. The game lasted 5 hours and 53 minutes. Every point was scintillating. Number 2. French Open Semifinal 2013. Rafael Nadal vs. Novak Djokovic, the king of clay and the greatest clay court player of all time against the player in the best shape on the planet, would surely produce fireworks, right? It did, and it was an unforgettable spectacle indeed. In a match packed with grueling ground strokes and long rallies, both players displayed similar levels of uninterrupted brilliance. It was like a boxing match with each combatant vying to knock the other out. When the match went to the 5th set, both players elevated their tennis game to the next level. Nadal finally managed to outclass his dogged opponent and seal the match point to win another French Open title. In each of the next 2 years, Djokovic would reach the French Open final but lose again to Nadal. Djokovic would eventually win the title again, both in 2016 and in 2021. Number 1. Wimbledon Final 1980. Bjorn Borg vs. John McEnroe. Many would have this as the number 1 tennis match on their to-watch list, and Forehand Frenzy is one of them. In this match, Bjorn Borg, probably the coolest person who has ever played, met John McEnroe, the American hothead who brought all the drama. A legendary tennis rivalry for the ages. Don't forget to check out this video, by the way, in which we break down their mutual hatred more detail. After losing the opening set to the McEnroe attack, Borg made a decisive comeback to take the next two. He then had 2 championship points in the 4th set. However, McEnroe prevented disaster and leveled the match in Wimbledon's most memorable 34-point tiebreaker, which he won by 18-16. In the tiebreak of the 4th set, McEnroe saved 5 match points while Borg had 6 set points. Bjorn served first at the beginning of the 5th set and fell behind by 15-40. From then on, Borg won 19 consecutive points on serve in the deciding set. After 3 hours and 53 minutes, he emerged as a winner. It was Borg's 5th Wimbledon title in a row. It was also his last. Years later, Borg himself admitted that this was the first time he was afraid that he would lose and felt that losing would signal the end of his dominance. Borg and McEnroe met again in the 1981 Wimbledon Final, and Borg lost this time, so this was a list of the greatest tennis matches to watch on YouTube. Hope you'll enjoy them and relive the moments. Hopefully, we will get to update this list in the coming years. That's all for today. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you are new here, and hit the bell icon for more videos. See you in the next video.